whether government or private. There are private electric distribution companies, private transmission companies, telecommunication also there's private and there's public sector both. Then we work with BFSI customers like financial services companies. In financial services, there are many applications starting from where to locate an ATM or where to open a branch, or how to use GIS to sort of do the credit worthiness check for somebody who wants a loan for white good, a two-wheeler or a car, all those kind of things. So instead of doing the check for everyone because it costs money, some of the BFSI companies rely on the power of location analytics and it's very simple. They will see where does the person live. If he's living in an affluent area and there are no defaults, then chances are this person will not default. So just give the loan and not spend so much money in the whole verification. We work with insurance companies. Insurance, crop insurance is a big application. Whenever there's a crop damage, these insurance companies have to settle the claim in a limited period of time, which is prescribed by the government. And the amount of claim is based on the age of the crop and what the damage is. So they quickly go, they look at either satellite image or they fly drones and get the data, estimate the age of the crop, come up with the damage estimate and fulfill their obligation. That's a very big application there. In manufacturing segment, there are a number of applications. That's also a big market for us, and there are a lot of large manufacturing organizations. It could be about their suppliers, it could be about their distribution points, it could be about their customer base. People use GIS to analyze the loyalty program data. That loyalty program gives a lot of information that where the customer lives, what his buying habits have been, and what kind of merchandise they buy, where they buy. So based on that, you can innovate and come up with new schemes for that. So that's how the market is. Quite interesting.
Okay, can you share more details on how you are helping telecom operators? Are you helping the deployment of 5G?
Yes, so they are using GIS for 5G deployment. There are a number of things. One is where should the towers be set up? In 5G, the accuracy requirements are far higher. So GIS plays a bigger role. And for the coverage, countrywide coverage, the number of towers that will be required will also be high. So keeping all this in mind, I think these two major telecom companies are using our technology in 5G deployment as well.
What kind of inputs these companies get from your data? Like if you talk about banking sectors or insurance sectors, what kind of data they get and how exactly it is helpful for them in deciding whether to give loan or not in a particular sector, or in case of 5G, how exactly they are going to understand from your data that this particular place is good for deploying 5G technology?
Okay, so primarily we are a technology company. We are as such not a data company, but we work with data partners who provide the data for different usages. And all the examples that you gave, there will be data available for them. For example, if somebody wants to set up a new ATM, so there is a database which is available of all the existing ATMs, right? So that's one layer of information. Then second layer of information will be there are banks who prefer to have their ATMs in a residential area, and there are banks who prefer to have their ATMs near the offices and shopping areas. That's how their business models are. So in that area, how many people live, and if they want to set up a new location, so typically one would not like to drive for 20 minutes to reach an ATM. One would probably want to drive for 5 minutes at most. So how many people come in the 5-minute coverage area? So that's another important decision. And if the particular bank has more corporate customers, then how many offices are there? So they identify location, then they run analytics on that. Is this the right location? Suppose they want to set up one ATM, but they find 5 possible locations. Then the technology helps them in choosing, narrowing down to one. So that's one example. Similarly, in case of a bank branch, they look at like if I'm going to set up a branch in Greater Kailash, so some demand, somebody mentions, one of their regional office will say, look, we don't have a branch in Greater Kailash, we should have a branch. Then they will look at the data. And now this data is available from different sources, but our technology can use that data. So what is the demography, how many people live, what are the age profile, so based on that they get some idea that, okay, then where should, what is the suitable location. And within Greater Kailash, they would like to estimate a number of customers who are likely to come to the branch. People don't go to the branch so often, right? So you don't need a very huge real estate for a branch. You may have a small place, but the branch may still do a lot of business. So high net worth people may not visit the branch so often, right? So I mean that's how the banks work today. They have a clear idea that who visits the branch more often than not. So based on that, they sort of qualify which location within Greater Kailash might be suitable.
And all these data which you are talking about that you source from other or company or some organization, do they verify these data? What are the credibility of these data that you use?
Well, they are in that business and they charge a lot of money for the data, so they do a good job of that. And a lot of decisions are taken based on their data. Yeah.
For satellite images, have you collaborated like which?
Yeah, we have a tie-up with Maxar. Maxar is a US-based satellite imaging company. So in US, ESRI global sources imagery from Maxar, and that comes as a part of our own base map service. In India, we have a tie-up. If any of the customers are looking for satellite imagery, then we can procure from them and supply.
Okay. And do you also take use personal locations of because you need to know the number of people present in a particular area? So do you use the personal locations?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. This comes from no. I mean, I didn't get that personal location of people. Well, what happens is that I mean, you can get the data that okay, how many flats are there in an apartment complex,
Okay.
and typically how many people live there. So I think that kind of information is good enough.
Okay.
So in GIS, most of the data is non-personal.
Right.
Non-personal data.
So good afternoon. My name is Sanjay. Sorry I came in late. So you have a risk assessment for these people, for your clients? Means what kind of...
No, we do not do risk assessment. We are a GIS technology company.
Okay.
Okay, so we give
So whatever
them,
you've given them, it's like he was asking about the credibility of the
so we
source.
give them the tools and technologies, and sometimes we introduce a partner. Okay, you want to buy demographic data? Here's the company who provides that demographic data. You can buy from that, and our software will accept that.
And you talked about 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So if you could tell us more about that, sir.
So,
What are the 17?
so these goals are there. I mean, these are United Nations goals which were globally agreed upon in 2015 by all the nations, and then every nation over the years have come up with their commitment that how they will like to fulfill and progress towards these sustainable development goals. And I think the first major milestone is going to be in 2030, where many countries have made certain commitments. So our technology helps in monitoring the progress on these sustainable development goals.
And you're doing it across pan India, or even about, like, suppose we're talking about the Northeast. So the mapping is taking there all over? Okay.
So basically, data is published by government organizations, and we just bring the data into our system so that analytics can be done. Understanding is better.
And do you have a, sorry?
A smartphone user can access your data on a smartphone. If I want to check my sustainable development goals of my district, can I do that?
No, it's sort of, is it open to people? Individuals? No.
Maybe it will be license based.
Yeah, it's for government organizations. But I mean, leaving aside that, we do have a personal carbon footprint app, which is called Carbon Aware. And with using that, you can find your own carbon footprint. At individual level, it's carbonaware.in. Doesn't require any sign-in, doesn't store any personal data. It just expects your home location so that the data becomes more meaningful. That okay, in so and so location there is somebody living who has this kind of carbon footprint.
Sir, I have a question. For all these data you told about telecommunication industry and all this, so are you guys working with also meteorological department in disaster management department? So I was just wondering.
Yeah, we work with disaster management departments. We also work with IMD, the IMD and the NCMRWF, National Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasting. They use our technology, and then there are other companies who do research in weather systems. And if you look at Ministry of Earth Sciences, there are other departments, departments within that, like INCOIS in Hyderabad.
No, it's good.
So INCOIS created a system for tsunami prediction. Okay. So that's the kind of things that our customers and users do that. So we provide technology. And many of them are using it for such a long time that they don't need any additional training. They know how to use it. So all that knowledge is there.
And do these the map and will they get like over the air updates, like as long since you told me that you are a technological company, you keep on they will get over the air updates, right?
They will get
Over the air updates, right?
Oh yeah, they get updates. Yeah. We every 6 months we have a new version of software, and it's available to all the customers who are either under warranty or maintenance. So then they get it free of cost. Yeah, quite a few SDMAs. We have JNK, we have Andhra, Karnataka. Yeah. There are many of state disaster management.
So talking about the telecommunication sector, Jio and Airtel are your
Major users.
yeah, right. So are you also, like what I would want to know, are you also involved with the public, like these are the private sector, the public sector is what I would
Yeah, BBN has been using that. Yeah.
And you've gone beyond India? Means any other countries where
So
they're
SC
coming
is
to
a
you?
global company. SC is headquartered in California.
Right.
So it's present in 130 countries.
Okay.
Okay, so SC India is just a component of that whole ecosystem.
So what's the total volumes you're doing? Like, if you're talking like dollars, then if it's a global, so where do you stand in the ranking? Kind of anywhere like
Not the exact figures, but
just a tentative.
Well, I would say that we are among the top 10 countries in the world.
Wow.
So broadly speaking, what is your go-to-market strategy when it comes to reaching out to your customers?
Yeah, so our go-to-market is quite similar to many other IT product companies. We have our own sales team, which is based in various regional locations. We have a number of partners.
Channel partner.
Yeah, channel partners, and we have different kind of channel partners. We have resellers, we have value-added resellers, we have system integrators, we have ISV partners, we do have some startup companies also. So there are a number of partners who are available, and we also have companies who resell our software and do a lot of services along with that, creating solutions for customers, integrating various things and providing. So that's all of that.
But you don't have a national distributor and tier 2, tier 3 countries.
No, we do have. So all these resellers, they place the purchase orders through Remington and King Remington. Yeah. So we call them master reseller. Did he comment? Yes, and I think recently we also, I don't know whether I'm allowed to tell that or not, but in the health sector we are doing something.
Because land and property details are very hazardous in the world. And they claim that they don't have the records to get the property tax from all the property owners. It's very surprising. Only 20 to 25% in Delhi pay property tax.
Yeah, but technology, if you look at the technology, there is the technology exists of a very high level of compliance. something like 15 years ago, we did a project for city of Kanpur, and their compliance was more than 80% at that time. And of course, we have a number of partners who do property tax systems for many, many cities, and they're all very successful projects. So there are techniques like you look at the satellite imagery of today versus 3 years ago, 5 years ago, and the technology has a method by which if you move a slider, you can see what change is happening every year. So we call it spatio-temporal analysis. It's an automated analysis. So integrate imagery from different years, which is available from say NRSC or something like that. And then you move a slider and you can see how many new buildings have come or how many properties have been expanded. And based on that, one can recalculate the property tax and start collecting.
But it's a very strange logic they gave that they don't have the record of all the properties, despite the fact that 100% have got electricity connections. So if they want to put it straight, they can definitely do it with the help of some.
Yeah, and you know, ground survey is always possible, right? You send a bunch of people to go and collect the data if nothing else is possible. So it's a question of what the priorities are, what they want to do, what they don't want to do.
Sir, are you also into the crop assessment system?
Crop assessment, yes. So a lot of state agriculture departments usually try to estimate the crop, that how the produce is going to be, and a lot of it happens from remote sensors like satellite imaging and things like that. And there are methods to identify one crop versus the other in a fairly automated manner, and that gives them an idea right in the beginning that okay, how many in a particular crop season, how much of what kind of crop has been sown. So if they start from there and then they see that how it's going on. So agriculture also is a big area where technology is being used.
The problem which our friend has talked about Delhi, like 25% or 30% property tax. So the government, I think they were, different zones. The MCD, they were doing some tokens, जो owners हैं उनका tokens देंगे. पुराना है the old schemes, where possibly Delhi has got this problem, where when the Bombay and all wouldn't have it. Do you think so? I'm just wondering. Your question is very important.
Logic that they don't have the record, but how come they have a water connection, they have electricity connection?
Yeah,
Suppose
that they are
just
giving.
co-literate.
That's the biggest challenge, actually.
Notified the
That's the biggest
geospatial
challenge.
policy. So, how do you see it benefiting your business and the sector?
Yeah, the policy is actually very good. I mean, I have spoken to many colleagues in the industry and everybody is quite happy with the policy. Anything?
Can you have a quick demo of the policy now, if it's okay?
One question. Can you please share some info regarding the smart cities?
Okay, I'll do that. Let me complete that answer for this question. So, so your question was about I forgot. Geospatial policy. Yeah. So, I mean, I personally think the policy is quite positive, and everybody in the industry feels so. There are a few good things in the policy. One, they are saying that I mean, there's a lot of focus which is coming to geospatial sector per se. Government is saying that if any data has been created by using public funds, it should be made available to public as well. That's a very, very positive thing, right? Other thing is that they have sort of given a schedule of certain important milestones. Like by year 2025, this is what we want to do. By year 2030, this is what we want to do. By year 2035, this is what we want to achieve. Which is a very clear direction. Next thing is that they have they formed a committee of government and private sector together to look at the monitoring of rollout of this policy. Then they've also mandated a few departments for creating data, and they've clearly assigned responsibility with ministries that this kind of data is to be created by so and so ministry, which again creates opportunity for the businesses to work with those companies in creating that data. So in geospatial ecosystem, there are a number of companies who do survey, mapping activities and all that. It could be a good business opportunity for them. And our technology gets used in most of the mapping activities and data sharing activity, data dissemination activity. So I think there will be business for everyone. Coming to smart cities, I mean there were a number of smart city projects which have taken place over last few years, and ESRI India has worked with close to 50 such cities under 100 smart city program, and we work with partners in many cases in providing solutions like solid waste management, street lighting improvements, parking management, water distribution improvement in that. In most of the smart cities, GIS has been used quite well.
So can you please share some info regarding your own tool, Indo
IndoArcGIS?
ArcGIS?
So IndoArcGIS is a very important tool, and it's a lot of that happens in India. So it has a lot of Indian content. It has three components. The first component is a lot of data which we curate from authoritative government sources and make it available free and openly. Now we started in 2021 with 300 layers. Now we have more than 700 layers of data. The second component is a lot of solution products. So we have productized solutions so that customers don't have to spend time and money in creating those. So these are the solutions for water distribution, other city function management of asset maintenance, then forest management, forest fire management, some things in disaster management, getting volunteers to come and do things, distributing maps to volunteers, so all those kind of things, something for electric and other utilities also. So that's the second component. Third component is the standard ArcGIS the way it is. So these three things put together forms Indo ArcGIS. All right, so
I
can have a demo.
Can we start with the demo?
Yeah, so can we start with the demo?
Yes.
Okay, so just like sir has elaborated just now about all these 17 goals, which is a global requirement of all countries, and every country is mandated to monitor and status of these goals. And here in India also there are quite a few government agencies, national level agencies, which are monitoring the overall status of goals, and then there are respective states who are maintaining their own status of their respective districts and till last mile. So all these goals are differently monitored. But the challenge was, as of now, it was all entered in the MIS formats in reports. You may see quite a few reports running down some 300 pages and all, but that report, if somebody wants to analyze and monitor, then that will not really can give a quick picture to the policy level that what is the status of the districts, and then where to exactly go and do the root cause and try to correlate. So with all these considerations, we have come out with this solution. And inside the solution, this is like policy maps for the decisions, data-driven decisions. And here we have different categories of information which is available. So the whole idea of SDG goals again was to integrate and correlate all information and analyze together. So that is where we have created this SDG. So for example, in this policy maps, we have tried to bring in quite a few of information so that under one click, one can analyze and visualize all this information together. And then quickly, just to give you a glimpse of it, here, like for example, SDG India. So all those sustainable development goals related to all 17 indicators, that was MIS data was integrated here and geo-enabled, and then we are primarily visualizing the status of all these goals like this. So in this particular image, if you see this status of quality education is dropping here. Good health is doing good in India and all. So this green means it is improving, and this red means it is automated, and then it shows that it is the value and the rank is getting. It is lower as compared to the previous year. So likewise, all these indicators can be visualized here. So in this way, we have gone down to the further state levels as well. Like for example, here inside this SDG goals, we have created one portal for. Let's drill down to the one portal for the Uttarakhand, for example. So national level, we have these comparisons and goals, and then we will go down to the one state. Also, one can drill down to the last mile, and that is where, I mean, for example, if you see it here, all these goals, I mean, inter comparisons of the districts and all these goals, and there are quite a few of maps actually against in each goal, and then we are trying to compare it also. Like just to show you here, it is just trying to show that goal number 1, 2, and 3. So as sir has mentioned also, like health has direct correlation and implication with poverty and hunger and maybe education. They have direct correlation. So instead of studying all these things independently, there is a complete comparative analysis one can do and arrive at the decisions where policy needs interventions. So likewise, if I'll go down to one goal of the health actually, SDG 3, here we will see like this is the status. If you see here, I mean the SDG 3 is not really doing good here. There was a slight drop here, dip here, as compared to the previous years in Uttarakhand. So, like for example, if somebody want to analyze what is the status and why it happened, so what one can do is they can go to the further drill down to the sub indicators. So, in all these 17 goals, there are some 5, 7, 8 sub indicators under each category. So, here one can drill down further, and if you see clean water and sanitation, and let's say coming to the health. If you see here, this particular dashboard is giving complete information about all sub-indicators also. And if you see it here, tuberculosis incidence. So what this analysis we derived at is that in this Uttarakhand, out of 7 sub-indicators, 6 are doing relatively good, but one indicator which is talking about the tuberculosis health, that is very, I mean, it was very low. So if you see it here, I mean, these maternal, child and maternal and all, they are doing good, perform relatively good. But here this tuberculosis thing is doing very, I mean, very low. And that is where if policy want to intervene, they can find out. Then here inside this, we identified that the tuberculosis patients are more clustered at primarily 3 urban areas, not in rural but urban areas, that is Dehradun, Haridwar and Nainital takes together 73% of the entire tuberculosis patients. So that kind of drilling, so that focus can be brought in here, and then one can drill down further and see what are the health gaps and all. So what are the gaps in the health facilities? For example, this is for the Uttarakhand. So these are the areas which shows that these are the areas. These red are the areas which are some 2 hours. I mean, this is the distance of the health facility, 2 hours from that location. So half an hour, 60 minutes and 3 hours and all. So likewise, policy level decisions can identify, analyze the gaps in the areas and focus where to bring in more focus, where to bring in more facilities, and that is how it is a structured entire thing. So this is all about, I mean, this is just of the policy level. Similarly for other indicators also, like climate and environment and all, we have quite a few of these indicators which we have integrated here and created different kinds of applications and dashboards for the policy decision.
Can you take us around for the disaster management in some state where recent something has gone wrong?
So in disaster management, actually we have done, as sir has mentioned, like for NDMA and during COVID time, almost for MHA, NDMA, even DOT, Department of Telecom and all. I mean, we have together supported them for the complete end-to-end COVID management system. But here in this, there are quite a few. I mean, this is just, we are working on here. So damage caused by floods from 2016 to 2018. So it is showing maybe low here. So total houses damaged, crops damaged, in which area it is damaged and all. So one can drill down to the respective state and one can analyze what is the status of that. So, available. Thanks.
So,
Thank you.
Thanks.
that is it for the briefing, and I hope all the questions have been answered.